My name is Norah Kimathi, co-founder of Zero Bionic Africa, where we're building assistive humanoid robots that do sign language. So my journey started off at around 15 years of age, actually, where we were staying in a rather modest household where whenever it would rain or whenever there were floods, I would see the impact.
Dale, I just read about a robot that walks on water. It's from MIT and uses some pretty clever physics. Want the link?
Yeah, that's just the brain of a humanoid talking. So I could see the effects of rains, floods, droughts, and just everything in general. So at that point, I started tinkering around devices that could help just me and my family go about their day-to-day activities in a normal way whenever such incidences would occur. So at that point, my parents never gave me a phone. I was so young, but then I really wanted a phone. So I started building a small mini phone. I didn't even know what I was doing, but then I was just using the Legos and everything that I had just to build a small mini phone. At that point, my intention was to just have something small that would alert me and my family whenever such incidences would occur. So maybe tomorrow it's going to rain, so take caution, or water has reached this level, so also take caution. And fast forward to now getting into computer science, I realized I was actually building a technical tool. My passion was always in science, tech, engineering, and math. So once I joined my first year, I started moving from school to school, mentoring kids and children who are younger than me in STEM related courses. So at that time, we were moving together with a team of people. I don't know if you know of Young Scientists Kenya, but then they also do similar activities across the country. So we're moving together with them, just training these students. And then most of our sessions would take 1 to 2 hours. But then on a number of these sessions, we happened to encounter some kids who could not hear, and some actually couldn't speak. So at that time, what we had to do for the subsequent sessions was remove our phones, as small as they were at that time. We were in our first year. So as small as they were at that time, pull out images of what you were trying to explain and teach using that. So you can imagine you're trying to explain a chemical equation in chemistry, react methane with chlorine, form the reaction of that, balance the mole equations. I mean, explaining that in real sense for someone who can hear just takes you a very long time. So you can imagine for someone who can't hear. So it lasted us about 7 to 9 hours of frustration. So we went back home with that same frustrated sense of state, just thinking around how can we help these students easily access such STEM related courses, because essentially we mostly used to deal with STEM, mostly robotics, mostly engineering, etc. So in the next session, we happened to meet with the interpreter and ask them why are the kids who can't hear not learning similar to the rest. So they just nod their heads, but you could clearly tell that they were not understanding what you were trying to explain. So he told us these kids are only taught basic human communication. So currently there is no localized STEM sign language dataset that exists to teach them. So now going back, having the background in tech that we had, we started tinkering around building something in sign language to teach STEM. And that's when we came about using robotic hands that could be easily trained to sign complex related concepts. The good thing with this was that, or the advantage we saw, was that we could easily train it by the second, be it we are asleep, be it we are awake. We have models that are constantly running in the background, just learning and updating as science, tech, engineering, and math evolves. As you know, by the second, everything is evolving. So with these advancements, we are able to make sure that everything is constantly updated. So we started now moving from school to school, piloting the robotic hands, and saw that there was a huge uptake. There was a huge increase in STEM retention rates for these kids because initially they never even thought that such a resource would be accessible to them. Fast forward to now having done over 78 pilots across Kenya, we decided to now move into different countries of the world because we realized that it's not only a problem in Kenya, it's a problem across the globe. We now moved into Liberia, South Africa, Ethiopia, and we quickly found out that the hugest problem that we were facing was that there's no standardized sign language data set for Africa. We have American Sign Language, we have British Sign Language, but there is no African Sign Language. So every time you go to a different country, you have to localize that data set or whatever you're building into, let's say, South African Sign Language or Kinyarwanda for Rwanda. So now we started working around building a standardized African Sign Language dataset. So at the moment, we have over 90 billion parameters of data, and in the next 2 to 3 years, we are hoping to open source it to lay a foundation for everyone in the space, not only just in the education space, but also in the health space, in the transport sector, because the moment we now train these students to be pilots, they are going to now go into the aviation space. They still need these tools. So we also need to build them for the context that they'll be in.